Welcome to science class. This week we are learning about natural disasters, and we're going to spend some time learning what causes some natural disasters. Before you go any further in the video, make sure you have a copy of this week's guided notes. It's going to say 1.1 on it, and just make sure you're filling it out as you go. And then once you're done with the guided notes and you're done with this video, just make sure you hole punch it and you put it in your binder. So there's actually a lot of different natural disasters out there. So here's a list of just a couple. You're probably pretty familiar with most of them. Some of them might be kind of a head scratcher where you've never heard of them or maybe have never thought of them as being a natural disaster. Since there are so many, we couldn't possibly get all those done in a whole week. And so we're just going to look at three. So we're going to look at tornadoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. A couple of vocab words to know. So a natural disaster is an event that causes damage, death, or destruction to humans and human property. And then natural hazard is an event that has the potential to cause damage, death, or destruction, but doesn't. So sometimes you might hear them used interchangeably, but they are two different things. A good example is if there was a banana peel in the front stairwell. So if it's during class and the hallways are empty, that would be considered a natural hazard because it has the potential to kind of cause some harm and damage, but nothing has happened because there's nobody around. But if the banana peel was still there during class change, that would be considered a natural disaster because most likely somebody is going to step on it and slip and possibly hurt themselves or somebody else. So that's the difference between the two. So our first example that we're going to look at is tornadoes. So a tornado is basically just a violently rotating column of air that goes from up in the sky in a thunderstorm down to the ground. Tornadoes are found most frequently in the US. So out of everywhere in the world, the US has the most. They happen other places, but just because of our weather conditions that we have, we are lucky enough to have the most tornadoes in the whole world. And feel free to pause the video if you think I'm going too fast or if you're not able to write things down in the same time that I'm saying the video. So for the formation of a tornado to happen, it basically takes a lot of hot air that's moist, or warm air, and then cool air, cool and dry air. And so when you have those two masses of air bumping into each other, then that's the perfect conditions for a tornado. Okay, so step one for a tornado, you can see there. Step two in the formation of a tornado. Step three. So by this point, it's about 2 to 6 miles wide, which is huge. Okay, so our next example, earthquakes. So the surface of the earth is always moving. Most of the time we don't feel it just because it's happening really, really slowly. If there is an earthquake, that's going to be a violent, quick movement. And earthquakes also have these things called aftershocks, which is where there are kind of smaller earthquakes that happen after a bigger one. And so all of this is happening within the earth, and so there's different layers. We've got the crust, mantle, outer core, and inner core. And all of the different plates on the surface of the earth are moving. So they're either kind of pushing against each other, pulling away from each other, or sliding past each other. And this creates a lot of friction. And sometimes it just snaps. And then you have an earthquake. Okay, our last natural disaster we're going to look at is tsunamis. And so a tsunami is a huge mass of moving water The main cause is going to be either an earthquake or a landslide that happens underneath the water. And tsunami literally means harbor wave in Japanese language. Okay, so if you finished all of your guided notes, the next thing you're going to want to do is just make sure that it's clipped into your binder. So some of you may have guided notes that already had holes punched into them, and some of you may have ones that need to be punched. So you'll want to make sure that it's hole punched, clip it in your binder, and then under this week's work plan, you're going to want to click on the video that says how to take Cornell notes for your next assignment. And if you have any questions about that, you could always ask me in person as well. Thanks. Bye.